Hello, hello. Nice to be here this morning. Welcome to everyone. Coming up to the end of the week, so hope everybody is doing well. Good morning officially, and welcome to our Mind the Moment's Thursday morning gathering brought to you by Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. And this is a place where we invite experienced mindfulness instructors to speak with us about what mindfulness means to them, and to discuss as a community how we can incorporate these practices into our daily lives. I'm Suzanne Rowe Palacino, and so happy to be here this morning with Tara Healey, founder and director of Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's mindfulness program. Good morning, Tara.
Good morning.
How are
Good morning,
you?
Suzanne. Good. I am well and really happy to be here. I was just semi-off for a couple days, so really happy to start my day with all of you. And yeah, great to be here.
Great to have you.
Thanks.
So we will let people know exactly how we run the session this morning for anyone that's new. A special welcome to those folks, by the way, if anyone is new to our webinar, and a special welcome as well to our regulars. Today, Tara will start us off with a question for the group, and then share a few words with us, and then lead us in a guided meditation practice. And that practice will be about 12 minutes long. Which is really the sweet spot where science has told us that the really positive changes start happening for people as they meditate and grow their meditation practice. So, and that guided practice will be guided as well as some silent time. So, and after the practice, we'll have time for questions. So if you go to the bottom of your Zoom screen and open up the chat, and you'll see at the bottom of that screen a blue drop-down menu that says hosts and panelists, and you can change that to everyone so folks can see your comments. All right, so what question are we going to have this morning, Tara?
Yeah, thanks, Suzanne. Well, I think for those of you that have been joining us, we're kind of each week we've been running through the senses. So, sight and sound and taste, and posing a question related to that. And so the question this morning is going to be more around taste. And what is a particular taste that evokes a certain memory or just is a pleasant experience for you? Because with all of the senses and the entire sense experience, we can have pleasant experiences with the senses, unpleasant experiences with the senses, and then neutral. Neutral is a little bit harder. We usually have some particular feeling towards one or the other, either liking or disliking, and usually on a scale somewhere. And so in working with the senses, we're looking at how we are reacting, responding to whatever it is we're hearing or seeing or touching or tasting. So today, I thought we would start with taste. And I know I'm going to go ahead and open up the chat. I know that Suzanne has posted that question in the chat. And don't worry if it's your first time here and you haven't been here for the others questions, but we're working through the senses. And I'm going to start with Suzanne to ask Suzanne. And then I'll say a little bit more to give everybody a little bit of time, and then just start populating the chat when you feel ready. And I need to click onto everyone. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It didn't come up right away to me, but we were talking about fall flavors, and the taste of apple crisp brings me back to when I was a kid. My mom used to make that all the time. So that to me, it's not only a fall, it brings me into fall and is a very fall experience, but it also reminds me of when I was growing up. So it's a very pleasant experience for me.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. So for me, The first thing that came to mind was gingerbread, and I have a recipe from the New York Times or it might have been actually the Boston Globe, and it was many, many years ago. But I only make it in the fall and winter, and I don't know why, because it is so delicious, but I associate the memory of that with this time of year. And it has a quarter cup of ginger freshly grated in it. So you really get like the pungency, and you have to like ginger to like this. But it's a really powerful taste sensation. And it's interesting because I've been watching The Bear on Hulu. And last night there was an episode where there was a lot of aversion to food. So you can have, a lot of unpleasantness to reacting to certain. So it's pretty powerful in that realm of, is it a pleasant or an unpleasant experience, and our capacity to really see that fully. But I'm
Yeah.
curious what.
Yeah, a lot of good things coming in.
Fresh foods. Oh, interesting.
Yes, Tuscany, yeah.
Fresh basil. Fresh
Really conscious. Yeah, it's
tomato.
so
Nice.
summer as a kid. Oh, yummy. Taste of salt water. That's so interesting what
Oh,
Susan's mentioned, because that would totally bring me back, because I was
oh
always
gosh.
in the ocean
Yes.
as a kid and getting knocked down by waves. So
Yes.
whoopie pie. Wow. That's a really distinct one.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's a great taste of
Cinnamon.
cinnamon.
Oh,
Ah, wow.
beets in her garden. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apple cider. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, that makes you think about fall.
And its taste is a really interesting sense, because I think it's easy, I don't know for anybody that has ever been eating and you get a phone call and you're on the phone call. One thing I notice is that I'm no longer present with my food. I'm not tasting it. And so I don't know if anybody else has had that experience. It's really interesting. Like, you literally miss the whole experience of the meal if you're distracted. Or
Mm,
you can miss the experience. So
interesting.
yeah, but it's really kind of fun working through the various sense experiences of the body. And the tide of mindfulness is so powerful. Um, we've been focusing on the positives generally because it's just easier to kind of be with it, but also thinking of the unpleasantness of all those senses as well. Um, so with that, let's go ahead and move into about a 12-minute guided practice, and then we'll have time for sharing. So as always, any resources that anybody has come across that you want to share. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but
Mm,
go ahead and move into a comfortable posture, and always know that it's fine to stand. It's not as if one is better than the other, and especially if you're sleepy, or if you've just eaten, sometimes it's better to stand. Lying down's an option too. It is suggestive of sleep, so I would say just be careful with that one. But go ahead and just settle in with a sitting upright or standing with a spine that's straight but not stiff, so that the core is somewhat engaged. The eyes can be open or closed. So if you have the eyes open, I usually say just look downward a little bit. But otherwise, settle in and take a couple deep breaths. It's always helpful to do that as a way to start. It helps settle any surface tension in the body and the mind. Make your exhalation a little longer than the inhalation. Go ahead and do those on your own. And a way I like to think of the posture and practice is, to not try to get it absolutely perfect. However you're sitting or standing, as long as it's, with some degree of engagement. And really the surrendering of the body and weight into the support of the floor and into the support of the earth. And taking a moment to just see how things are. So bringing the mind and the body together here in this moment and noticing how things are from your activity so far this morning. So what sensations are making themselves known to you? Pulsing or vibration or the points of contact with the body and the surface. Again, using the sense experience of the body to settle in, and the proprioceptive sense of the body, feeling and knowing your body is present here in this moment on this particular surface. The soles of the feet touching the floor or the back of the body on a chair. And taking a moment to expand awareness to include sound so that hearing in the room or outside of the room. And no need to label what's making it, but just simply hearing. And allowing sound, of course, to remain in the background. The arising and the passing of sound will do its thing. Not a problem. And begin to bring awareness back inward while allowing sound to happen as it will continue to, and coming back into the whole body awareness and noticing any particular areas of holding or tightness and bringing attention to that particular part of the body and receiving that experience, softening to the degree that you're able. And moving now to something that'll help stabilize the wandering mind, or anchor the mind, knowing that thoughts are going to continue to come and go through the remainder of our time together. And that's all part of the practice. It's not wrong, that you are in fact doing it right. Each time a thought slips in and you notice, I usually just make a soft mental note, thinking. You can be more specific, but sometimes it's easy to just do thinking. And then drop the narrative, see if you can release that. And then bring your attention back to whatever you're using to help stabilize the mind. And that could be breath sensation anywhere in your body where the inhalation and the exhalation is most noticeable. It could be the palms of your hands resting on the top of your thighs. It could be a different body sensation something along the back of the body and the surface that you're aware of. It's something you can keep coming back to. Sound is also a possibility. You're taking a moment to find something that you feel the mind can pretty easily keep coming back to, can connect with. And I would stay with that for the remainder of our practice. So I'm going to be silent for the next several minutes. And each time the mind wanders, soft mental note thinking, it could be more specific like planning or remembering. Releasing that storyline, softening the body, and escorting your attention back to your anchor, your stabilizer, and tracking sound or sensation, whatever you're using. Noticing where the mind is. Releasing the memory, the narrative. Allow the body to soften and escort your attention back to your anchor. And as we bring this meditation to a close, may we be peaceful and at ease. May our heart be soft and open. May we be safe and protected, and our body healthy and strong. And may the merit of our practice be for the benefit of all beings. So whatever goodness comes of our practice, may it be of benefit. And as you are ready, if your eyes were closed or even if they were open, taking a moment to just look around, reorient to your space, do a little bit of a stretch. Yeah.
Thank you, Tara.
Yes, of course. Thank you, everyone. I just see another comment, a really smooth red wine enhances the whole experience of a meal. Yep, it sure does. Yeah. Yeah, so we have an opportunity to share your experience, any resources that you think are you've come across, including a book or a podcast or anything like that. The other thing that I wanted to just offer here is that it's a really common question to ask, how do I know this practice is working? Like it's something that comes up a fair amount. And so, I would just say, as you kind of go through your day today, a way to know if the practice is working is that you can see with greater clarity what happens when you're provoked. So that's because the stuff that's happening that's good and pleasant. I mean, one of the downsides of being distracted was that we can miss it and not have the full experience of it. It tends to be harder to work with the difficult stuff. So if there's a family member you struggle with or driving in traffic, usually a way to tell if it's working is that you have a little bit more space with that person who generally pushes your buttons. Like you find yourself not quite as contracted. Or you could be in a situation like traffic, and which, for some people it's not that bothersome, for others it is. So whatever is a challenge for you over time, and I feel like it's been imperceptible for me, like all of a sudden I'll have a situation which might normally be really challenging for me, and not that it's not at all, but I have a little bit, I'm a little bit more in the driver's seat with how I am engaging with it. So I think it's worth really just paying attention to what are you noticing as you move through the day.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really so true. And sometimes we don't even notice it until maybe it happens again,
Yeah.
you might not notice it right away.
Right.
Which is, is always an interesting thing as well. But
Yeah. You mean notice that you have a little more space? Is that
yeah,
what
you might not
yeah,
even
notice
notice
that,
it right
oh,
away.
right. And later you're like, I didn't yeah. So
Mhm.
the practice in so many ways is like, how am I relating to and engaging with this particular situation? And with stuff that's good, there's often a subtle grasping, not wanting it to go away. That could
Mm.
even include just a really, really good meal, like not wanting it to end. Or it's so good you go back for seconds or even thirds, and then it's never quite the same. It's
Mm.
almost I was just with someone yesterday who had that experience of wishing they hadn't done that 2 more bites, like, because it's so good, and that, this capacity to really notice kind of where you are in your own how full your body is, if it's related to food.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, yeah. So it's just that there's so many ways to see how the practice is working for you. And it's really happens kind of over time. And I think, Suzanne, your point's a good one. Sometimes it's like, oh, it's like after the fact, or it could be after the fact when you've had a reactive response that isn't one you wish you had. That is like, I just, because that bubbles up so quickly. And one of the things practice helps do is increase the gap between the impulse and the actual action, the actual saying or the doing. You get a little more space. Um, yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely where it comes up for me, is that just taking that breath in between.
yeah. And the practice helps us notice it, sooner.
Yeah.
The second helping, yeah, it's so different from the first.
Yeah. And absolutely, these sessions are available to anyone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're retiring. Congratulations.
Congrats.
It's a big change, I'm sure. So that's
And
exciting.
we are so glad you're back. If you were away and not part of the practices for a while, delighted. And please, to everybody, this practice on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, first Tuesday, Thursday, and then Wednesdays, which is Suzanne's solo guidance, started right around the time of the pandemic, and we've never stopped, and we don't plan on stopping, and they are open to the world. So
Mhm.
share far and wide, and we love seeing all of you. This community has grown quite a bit, and these practices happen consistently Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. And with the exception of some holidays, but even then we've sometimes had them. We will let you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and absolutely share with other folks. This is open to anyone, so please do that. Thank you, Tara, for being here.
Oh, I
morning.
love that. Similar to fighting the instinct to get the last word.
Yeah,
Yes, like just the noticing of that.
yeah. And Teresa's mentioned agitated before she came, and she was able to sit with it rather than push it away.
Yes.
Boy, that is another gift of this practice.
That's the golden nugget of the practice, is that,
Mhm.
you know, when something is unpleasant, the wanting to resist, and what you did is, you're here, you know, you sort of welcome that in. I don't know if welcome's the right word, but turn toward it
Yeah.
and feel it in the body and notice the thoughts without being caught in those thoughts. It's a very different experience to be the observer of the thought thinking mind, you know, rather than being lost in thought. I think lost in thought is such a good phrase for this practice, because we don't know it with the kind of awareness we're cultivating here. But there is a moment where you do wake up and go, "Ooh, where was I?
Mm-hmm.
Was I?" And just pat yourself on the back, because now you are back in the driver's seat of your attention, and you can, you know, you have the capacity to aim and sustain your attention as you want, rather than being yanked around.
So true. Well, thank you everyone for being
Yeah.
here this morning. Thank you, Tara.
Thank you. Thank you,
I'll
everybody.
be away for the next 2 weeks. But I've got a great community of people supporting me here, including Tara on Wednesdays and the teachers on Tuesdays.
Yes.
So I'll be back at the end of September. So looking forward to seeing you when I'm back. Cal Juilliard will be here on Tuesday. So I'm sure he will take great care of you. And thank you so much.
Question. Cal is so fabulous.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
So see you soon. And
Yeah.
thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day today and into the weekend.